Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? Saw some people talking about their 8 a.m.s in chat already. It's currently 9 a.m. for me, so not the best start to the day, but not too bad either. For all of you with friends that are going to the Zoom, because we sent out a Zoom link in the ICC newsletter, please tell them to come back to the YouTube. Um, we're gonna use the Zoom a bit later on in the stream, but right now we're just gonna stick with YouTube for now. So we're just gonna take a few moments and wait for any of the people in Zoom to hop back over. Any other fellow West Coasters? Guess nobody would want to wake up at 9 a.m. for anything other than class. Oh, there we go. There's a few. God. Jonathan, if you hired SES to manage your personal brand, it'd be the best decision of your life. Our marketing is fire. Some Jonathan's meeting in chat. Let's go. All right, we're probably gonna wait around 2 more minutes and we're gonna start the stream up. Sebastian, I don't know what to think about you for suggesting that name. It's an abomination. I think Jonathan is just fine. I'm not sure we need the H or the space in between. I'm curious, Sebastian, do you know anyone named Jonathan with an H? Because that's the first time I've ever seen that name. Another Jonathan joins chat. Jonathan, you trying to run a marathon or something? Yikes. Imagine having an H in Jonathan. Where are the other people? I saw Kevin. I see a Joe now. Are there any non-Jonathans here? I'm currently drinking milk tea, but it's like a weird milk tea that I made. It's not actually like Earl Grey or anything. It's just plain black tea with milk and like a few sugar cubes. Yes, I actually just got a haircut last night. Um, I was lucky enough to have it been done at home, so it saved a bunch of money. But you know, a home quarantine cut is a home quarantine cut. Thank you, Lily. All right, let's see. All right, it's 9:35, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get the stream started first. Liano, it's not alcohol. I guarantee you it's milk tea. I would not be day drinking right now. But cool. So while you guys keep talking in chat, I'm just gonna start off by saying thank you guys all for coming to the meeting. We're gonna be going really in depth on what venture capital is today, as well as the ins and outs of what it's like to work in the industry, and also near the end, if you guys saw the Zoom link in the new ICC newsletter or anything, it's there because we're also gonna give you a chance to try it out yourself. But I'll tell you more about that later. But for now, we need to get the tradition out of the way. We gotta present our weekly update. There's a lot of things wrong with drinking at 12:30, Remy, especially on stream. But first things first, like usual, I found two pieces of news that are more like techie, entrepreneurial, VC related news, and then one news that I just found was interesting, not exactly the most important piece of news. But starting with the first one, Tonal recently raised $110 million in a Series D funding round. For those of you who don't know, Tonal is this huge monitor sort of thing that's a smart home gym. And it recently raised a pretty large, I mean, 110 million is a lot of money, and they raised it from a lot of pretty big name investors like Elle Catterton, Amazon Alexa Fund, as well as a bunch of big name athletes like Steph Curry. I think there are like 20 or something athletes, but I'm not too big into sports, so Steph Curry is really the only name I kind of recognize, so I put it on. Just curious, I can see why Tonal is getting more popular because of the quarantine and everyone wanting to work out at home, but does anyone own a Tonal? Or your parents or a friend or know anyone who own one? Does anyone in chat? No? Nobody? Oh well. Yeah, so the thing is, I was seeing this news and I was wondering, right? It sounds like a good idea until you look at the price point. I checked on the website and it's like $3,000 plus a $50 membership every month to get this thing. And I was like, who in their right mind would pay $3,000 plus $50 a month to pay for something like a smart gym when you can pay a gym membership for, even if you do Equinox, it's probably like 1.5K a month. And in Equinox, you get like a nice spa, a sauna, like top of the line products. And yeah, if you just try to get like a full rack and plate set, you'd get like an amazing entire gym setup. But they raised $110 million. Clearly it means they're doing something right. I tend to believe that these investors don't just completely overlook the fact that they can't sell a product. So they're probably doing something right. There's probably some secret sauce in it. I just could not figure out for the life of me why someone paid $3,000. But yeah, if you're interested in spending $3,000 to get your personal fitness up a little bit, maybe check it out. They probably have something that we don't know. Second piece of news this week is Chime raises $485 million in a Series F at a $14.5 billion valuation. And for those of you who don't know, Chime is a sort of mobile banking solution. Instead of your traditional bank where you're, going to branches on the streets, Chime is completely mobile. You kind of just sign up online, have a mobile banking app, and you get a card, and that's pretty much all there is to it. No fees, no anything. And so it's kind of conveniency as well as low fees is something that they've really been boasting. And they recently surpassed Robinhood and becoming the highest valued fintech company in North America. And apparently they're also saying they're going to be IPO ready within a year. So anyone who invested in this current round will probably earn their money back real soon. But we'll see. Well, we're not sure. And then the final piece of news, and this one's the more fun one, it's the one I usually just throw in because I saw something cool, is the Oculus Quest 2 just got released. For those of you who don't know, the Oculus Quest is a line of VR headsets that Facebook puts out. And the Oculus Quest 2 just got released, and it's exciting because it comes with higher specs, better resolution, larger storage, and a cheaper price. Not sponsored, but it's a really cool headset. If I can actually just pull it up right now. They made it look a lot sleeker. with kind of a with kind of a white aesthetic. Here, let me just pull it over. If you guys can see it, it's a lot sleeker now. Tacos are extremely excited about the Oculus, but it's super cool because I've always been sort of on the more skeptical side on VR gaming, even though I really enjoyed playing it the one time I did, just because of issues like motion sickness, as well as issues like just being expensive. But now that it's around $300, people are willing to probably buy this headset, and because of the higher resolution and better processor, the issues of motion sickness might go away further. So I might actually end up buying one. I'll keep you guys posted. I'm not too sure yet. But other than these pieces of news, quite a lot of things happened in the past week that I didn't include. Does anyone have anything they want to share? Kenny, send you 1K Cash App and I'll send back 10K. What are some cool news? If anyone follows chess, I know that the world champion Magnus Carlsen walked into a chess tournament shirtless online, like 10 minutes late to the match. That was pretty cool. TikTok deal with Oracle, yep. TikTok is signing some sort of deal with Oracle and Walmart. It's pretty cool because apparently all sides think they won in this thing. The US signed off with the deal thinking like they got kind of leverage over China. TikTok is still fully involved. Apparently the ByteDance, the parent company, still thinks they're fully involved in the deal, so they're not getting like cut off or anything either. And then Oracle and Walmart got a much needed win as well by signing this deal. So pretty cool. Apple Epic Games, I heard about that. Apparently Apple is taking all of Epic Games stuff off the Apple Store, and there's like some sort of suing fest between the two. And I don't know, I used to be pretty bullish on Epic Games even though I hate the game Fortnite, but after all this shenanigans with Apple taking off their app and then putting it back on, deleting all of users' information and whatnot, I'm not too sure anymore. Battery day for Tesla. You want to talk a little bit more about that? I actually didn't see anything about that. Battery day? Oh, was this the thing they announced when they were releasing the truck? The Cybertruck? Apparently, battery day today. Keep an eye out. They're going to be releasing a lot of cool stuff. The stock is probably going to shoot up for absolutely no reason yet again. But cool. Nikola CEO got in trouble. Yeah, quite a few things happened in the past week. Yeah, but is there anything super big that we'll be going over today? A lot of the stuff we're going over. Oh yes, okay. I guess moving on from the news, now that Kenny has brought it up, we do have one big announcement to make logistically, and it's that we're launching our first games night this Saturday at 9 p.m. So we're going to be playing Scriblio, Among Us, Escape It, and whatnot. Super exciting time. Highly encourage anyone who's interested in games or anything to come out and just chill with us. And we actually, our beloved Taco, content creator, mogul of YouTube, actually created a video for us today to advertise our games night, if I can just find it. Here we go. And yeah, Taco's right. If you don't come, you're the imposter.
Kill. Just get Frank out of here. I'm 100% sure it's Frank we did. It's me, baby. Let's go. And good night. Good
If you guys have more questions about how it's edited, definitely hit Taco up. I think he's in the chat right now, so you guys can ask him whatever. But that's a sneak peek into how that's a sneak peek into how our game sites usually go, at least among SVS people. So definitely come out for our first public game night. We're super excited to play with other people and mess around with their minds in Among Us. And if you don't play Among Us, don't worry. We'll also have rooms for Scriblio, Escape It, Catan, whatever you really want. Just really depends on the amount of turnout we have. The Saturday 9 p.m. Put that in your calendars. It's already in the newsletter if you guys got that. But in case it's not, I have a bit.ly link on the screen. I'll type it out, Kenny. bit.ly/SCS Games Night. Pretty easy to remember. So I'm just gonna put that in chat. You're welcome, Kenny. And so, got it. Yeah, that's all the logistical stuff. And now we're gonna dive into the actual meeting content, which is what is VC. So I'm sure that if everyone's here, everyone probably has a sense of what venture capital is already. But to just reiterate very high level, they're basically the investment firms that provide money and advice to promising young companies in exchange for equity. And for those of you who don't know, equity is just a percentage of the company. And like venture capital, there's a lot to go into, but before I go into it, I thought it would be interesting to take a quick trip down memory lane and kind of explore how venture capital came to be. And so let's go all the way back to the 15th, 16th century. Think age of exploration, everyone's taking ships everywhere. America is still called the New World, that kind of time. And so when you think about that time, debt is still the predominant form of financing at the time. And what that means is that people are lending people money in exchange for getting money back with a bit of more interest in the future. And the reason this is the case, it actually made a lot of sense. You would never want to invest in equity because first, you had no information on how companies are doing. There were no, like financials, or even if the founder were to just take your money and run away the next day, you couldn't just like call him or anything. There was really nothing. So it was super risky to invest in equity. Yeah, and one more thing. There's this whole issue with liability. Because you're investing in equity, you actually count as a part of the company, or so they call it. So if the founder, goes to some gambling event and gambles away his entire life savings and go into debt, you, as part of the company now, as an equity investor, will have to pay his debt back. And so with all these factors, like you don't want some like founder being the reason you got to knock on the door at 3 a.m, asking for your entire life saving. Nobody invested in equity pretty much. But the cool thing is that this was also the time when shipping was the big thing, going between continents and stuff. So people had to figure out a way to create standards so that shipping would be incentivized. Because if you think about that logic, no one would want to be a ship owner. Because let's say you invest all your money to make a ship and you get a whole crew and you agree to ship people's cargo. In the case of a sinking ship, you're losing not only your own investment in the ship, your own crew, you're also going to have to be in huge debt as you try to repay all the merchant's cargo that you had to carry. And that just made no sense. Like, why would anyone be a ship owner and carry cargo? Why not just do, like land caravans? And so it made no sense. So they had to figure out a way to incentivize ship owners, and that's when they came up with the idea of limited liability. And what that means is that every party is only in charge of their own investment in the entire, thing. Ship owners are only in charge of the ship they have. So if the ship sinks, all they have to do is pay back the ship's cost. Merchants will be in charge of their own cargo because they're putting in cargo as their sort of investment. And then with this kind of system in place, ship owners are finally incentivized to ship cargo in expeditions for merchants. And one more thing is that ship owners always charged a percentage of the cargo they carried. This is known as, carry. It was a 20% carry that they charged all merchants on every expedition. And this was kind of the convention that formed. But it wasn't until kind of 1811 when the first limited liability laws spread throughout all the industries, other than like the maritime industry. And that was when New York City implemented limited liability laws, so that in all industries, the only thing investors had to worry about is the part that they put in. So they can't lose more than the money they put in. And this was also the same, century where cash registers became a thing. Telephones were invented so you can actually sort of, keep track of the founders so they don't run away with your money, and whatnot. And so with all these facts put together, VC kind of blossomed into existence. And the reason I bring up this convoluted story about, the maritime industry and why things happen was twofold. First is to explain why limited partners are called limited partners. And the reason they're called limited partners is because of their limited liability. They're only liable for the investment they put in. But I also brought this up because the structure of venture capital today is very similar to what it was, many, many centuries ago, in the 1600s, in that the limited partners today are the cargo givers, the merchants in the past, where they just kind of give money to the general partners here. And the general partners today are the people in the venture capital firms. These are kind of the ship owners of the past. These are the people who are taking over money and managing it, and in exchange, they charge a carry. The term actually stayed the same even throughout all the decades and centuries. So these people are the ones that manage the money that limited partners give them in exchange for a 20% carry on the profits that they earn. And then the expeditions that people went on are the startups that, thanks Jonathan, the expeditions that people used to go on ships are the startups today. And that's why it's called a venture. And so the startups are the ones getting money from the general partners to kind of grow their own businesses in hopes that the general partner will earn a return on them much later on in the timeline. And so kind of the limited partner, general partner, and startup are the three different stakeholders in this venture capital structure that tightly intertwine, and it's kind of like a money give money relationship. And I just thought it was cool that it was the same as it used to be in the 1600s, and that not much has changed, not even the term carry. But enough of the boring stuff. A lot of people are more interested in what it's like working in venture capital. Sebastian, to answer your question, 220 structure is in VC2. For those of you who don't know, 220 structure means that you're earning 2% management fees on all the money given to you every year. And then you're earning 20% on all the profits that you earn for your limited partners. And so there's a steady fee that you earn every year. That's kind of the base, as well as a 20% fee based on how much you earn to kind of incentivize people to, earn the LP's money. Kenny, I'm sorry that you have one eye on the screen and one eye on the whiteboard. But the typical life of VC, yeah. So you can typically split it into 4 different things. And the reason I structured it in sort of an inverted pyramid is because the work you're doing is very much correlated, proportional to the size it is in this pyramid. So sourcing is going to be most of your work if you do end up going into venture capital. And what that means is finding potential companies to research and invest in. This means, in a daily life of VC, you're taking like hundreds of calls a day, sending out emails to founders, going on coffee chats or lunches, or even going to like conferences or like pitch fests to find companies that are interesting, to find the kind of edge, like the most innovative companies that are currently in the industry. And so that's most of your work. And then going down a little bit in the funnel, after you see, hundreds of companies, you might find 1 or 2 that are interesting enough to look deeper into. And that's the investing part, looking deeper into a company and deciding whether or not you want to invest in them. And so that requires a lot of, financial due diligence, talking more with the founder, as well as a lot of the team. Joe, to answer your question, the relationship between inbound and outbound sourcing is that outbound is what I was talking about, which was like, calling founders, cold emailing founders that, of companies find interesting and asking them more about the business or whether they're interested in funding or whatnot. Inbound is usually when, stuff like investment banks or other connections in the industry recommend companies to you, or companies come to you looking for funding. And they're kind of two different sides of sourcing. Depending on the venture capital firm you work on, it might typically be more outbound focused or inbound focused. But that's really just based on firm. Thank you for the question. So yeah, investing is just picking a company you really find promising and investing in it. Managing is once you decide to invest in a company and after you've invested in them, they're still kind of in an ongoing relationship with you. So to manage the investment, you kind of help them out with whatever they need. For example, if they need a connection to an industry expert that you happen to be connected to, you can help connect them. If they need to raise a new round of funding and can't work out their financials, sometimes you help them with that too, and you know, a lot of other stuff. But managing is basically just helping out your portfolio companies, and it takes up a much smaller portion of your work because you know you're only going to have a couple positions. I mean, you're only going to have a couple companies to worry about while you have like hundreds of companies to source. Hey Vishal, thanks for joining. And then finally, exiting. So you invest in a company in hopes that you eventually exit. And so after I finish this thought, I'll answer your question, Sebastian. But you spend more time, you eventually want to exit to kind of earn a profit on your investment. And so sometimes what you're doing is really like going to a portfolio company, helping them find potential acquirers or help them set up an IPO process so you can earn your returns back. And Sebastian, to answer your question, you spend more time managing investments when you are in a senior position. But that's simply due to the fact that, you know, at an analyst level, sourcing is going to be kind of the brute force work. It doesn't really require connections or like knowledge in the industry as much. And so when you're higher up, you do less of the brute work and get more into managing. Also because a lot of the times you're the one bringing these portfolio companies on in the first place. So it makes more sense to have senior people manage the companies anyways. Alex, are some VC firms more hands-off in managing the investment than the others? Yes. So the usual pitch that VCs give to startups is that VCs provide a lot of advice as well as industry connections and whatnot, so that startups should choose them over another VC. But the reality is a lot of VCs invest and they give relatively limited help just because, you know, they're venture capitalists, they're not entrepreneurs, they do not know how to run the business as well as a startup does, who may have been in the business for 10 years kind of running it. At most, they give some like high-level advice, but most of the time, there's not really much help, with a few exceptions. And Kenny, so it's very Shark Tank-like, sort of. It's hard to say. Shark Tank is really much of a scam because I'm pretty sure they charge like a % equity on everyone who goes on the show, even before you decide on whether to invest or not. But putting that aside, sure, it's kind of like Shark Tank. I'm not sure, but I think they do charge a % equity. Is VC as structured as IB in terms of the corporate ladder? No. So especially when you're trying to climb in venture capital, because it's a much smaller firm and because there's no like steady churn of analysts like there is in investment banking, you know, the classic in investment banking is you kind of do 2 years and you kind of just leave. Because there's none of that, it's hard to set up a very structured promotion process and whatnot. So a lot of the times it just comes down to the connections you have in the industry, the deals you bring in for the firm, and whatnot. And that kind of helps you climb in the corporate ladder. And if you're never bringing in any interesting deals, you might just stay like an associate forever. How does VC differ from early stage PE shops? I think the biggest difference is that even in early stage PE shops, I've never heard of any early stage PE shop that are, for example, investing in seed rounds. But like if you think about it, VC is basically, you know, an early stage private equity shop. I guess the main difference would just be like the companies they look at. Even an early stage PE shop would still probably look for some proven revenue stream, or like some proven business model. While in VC, you could literally invest in just an idea. Does 2-year IB analyst into VC analyst associate? There's a lot of paths into IB, but 2 years in investment banking into VC is a potential one, yes. Some people also start their own startups and fail and go into VC. Some people decide to pick on like a large strategy or operations role at a large company, and then go into venture capital. But yes, VC is very sales-like. All right, I'll move on quickly because I have some other stuff planned for the stream. But I'm happy to answer any questions if you guys just sign up for a coffee chat with me. We can talk recruiting or VC or college or whatever. And so the kind of juicy part of VC, and pretty much the entire name of the game, is evaluating companies. And it's a hard topic to breach because there are so many things that go into what makes a company good or what might make it succeed in the future. But there's a few general principles that VC firms as a whole have kind of come to a conclusion about. And it's these 5 things: the founding team, the problem they're trying to address, the product that they have to address the problem, a business model or kind of the way they earn money, and then their proven financial data. And as you kind of go down the spectrum from early stage to later stage, these factors are also getting increasingly more important. And so the later stage you are, the more important stuff like financial data and a proven business model are. And the earlier stage you are, the more important a founding team is. Is it kind of like value investing where you're trying to find undervalued companies? Sort of, but instead of really trying to find undervalued companies, VC is unique in that you're trying to create value. So in the stock markets, what you're really trying to do is like, ultimately just play the game, trying to find companies that other people don't see and invest in it before they become really high valued. In VC, you're really creating value. Without the money you give them, these companies with potential might never reach their potential. But by giving them money and by giving the advice, you're allowing their potential to become a reality. And so instead of thinking of it as undervalued companies, it's more like finding companies with high potential and you're kind of realizing this value. And so going back to the topic, all these metrics are important, but I think one thing common that everyone agrees is that founding team is by far the most important one. And the reason this is the case, some people might not understand, like if you don't have an amazing product or an amazing problem you're addressing, how are you going to trust in just the founding team to invest? And whenever people ask that, I really like speaking about Stuart Butterfield, the founder of Flickr and Slack. So if you guys didn't know, Stuart Butterfield actually wanted to be a game developer pretty much all his life. His very first venture coming out of college was he wanted to make a game called Game Never Ending, I think, and it was this massive online MMORPG. And he loved the game, put his heart and soul into it, but it just couldn't get traction. He was getting investors, don't get me wrong. I think it was because he was a very charismatic person or whatnot, but he just wasn't getting traction. He wasn't, he probably wasn't the best games developer or something. But during this process, the game failed. Game Never Ending kind of never took off. But during this process, he pivoted to Flickr because, his company was failing, and he made Flickr a photo sharing app. And, Lily, I will type it in chat actually. Stuart Butterfield. And the reason is, and he pivoted to Flickr and managed to sell the company to Yahoo for millions. I don't remember what the actual deal size was, but so that was super cool. He just pivoted a random game company into Flickr and sold it for millions. And then afterwards, he was founder, CEO of Flickr for a while. I'm guessing he wanted to pursue his lifelong dream of becoming a game developer. He went back and made another game. This time he made a game called Glitch, also a massive online multiplayer, and he tried to do it again. He got investors and everything, and yet again, it could not take off. He must have just not been great at making games. There's no other explanation. But at this point, people were investing in him just because of him. And so the game failed inevitably after like a year or two of him trying to run it. And instead, when they were building the game, they created this communications platform internally called Slack that they ultimately decided to bring to the public because people because people commented on how amazing their internal communication platform was. And they pivoted to Slack, and fast forward a couple of years, just last year they had a super successful IPO, giving all their investors like a large return on their exit. And so I think that's a really, really funny example of how a founding team could single-handedly make or break a company. Because as you heard, Stuart Butterfield had a really bad problem and a really bad product both times when he was receiving kind of investor funding. But he single-handedly really pivoted both companies to become million-dollar successes. And so, okay, that's enough about evaluating an investment. Does anyone have any questions on what to look for in a company or not? Because very soon I'm going to invite everyone on a Zoom and give you a chance to evaluate an investment. I've got a startup pitch ready. I'm going to kind of put on my founder hat, and I'm going to see how you guys think of a random startup that I found. Does anyone have any questions on investment or evaluating or anything? No? I'll wait a few seconds because I think there's a stream delay. But if not, perfect. Can everyone online join? Oh, wait, just kidding. Haha. What specifically in the founding team do you look for besides communication? So a lot of things really. A few things it's pretty abstract, but a few things you look for are, for example, how cohesive the team is. You don't want two founders kind of not liking each other. There's also execution, ability to execute, seeing how well they can bring products to life, how well they can kind of execute on promises they give. Charisma. I think that's always important to have a very charismatic founder because they're the ones bringing in employees. They're the ones convincing people to buy the products, whether you're B2C or B2B. And Ashley, yes, you can join the Zoom on a non-NYU account. Completely understandable that you're also in a class right now, but it'll be a lot of fun to hop on the Zoom, if not to just see a lot of the other people in the chat. I mean, we're SVS, we only attract the coolest people. So just hop in, you can have your mic muted and camera off, but just hang out with us. You should be able to, yes, you should be able to join 2 meetings at once. But yeah, so can everyone join the Zoom? Let's see, I'm gonna open it up myself and see how many people are joining. Give me 1 second. Can someone just spam the link? Okay, I'll spam it. bit.ly/
Francis, are you in here?
SVSWTF. I'll spam it. Yes. Hey, Amanda. Cool. So let's see some people join.
Should we let all of them in or what?
Yep. Let us let everyone in if we can.
No camera. Hi.
No.
Amanda, can you give me host?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let me see.
Perfect. All right. See a lot of people in the waiting room already. I'm just gonna quickly go ahead and admit everyone as well. See if I can just turn off the waiting room.
You could just turn it off.
There we go. All right. How is everyone doing? I'm glad to see everyone. So I'm gonna put everyone. So how this is gonna go down is that while everyone else joins the Zoom, I'm gonna put everyone in a breakout room with 5 to 6 others, and once you guys do your introductions, get to know everyone, I am going to pitch a startup on stream. So everyone should be on stream tuned in while you're in your breakout rooms. And while I pitch the startup, I just want you guys to kind of discuss whether you would invest in this company, if you have any questions for, the founder, me, or if you have any questions on, in general, what would VCs think of this company or whatnot. And so in a few seconds, I'll probably break everyone into breakout rooms and get this thing going. So if you hopped off the stream, you still have to be on because I'll be pitching the startup on stream because everyone will be in breakout rooms. So if you hopped off the stream, you still have to be on because I'll be pitching the startup on stream. So right now, I'm just gonna quickly break everyone into breakout rooms first. So we have around this many people. All right, everyone should get a notification to join a breakout room soon. But just again, stay on the stream because that's where I'm going to be pitching the startup for everyone to analyze. Here we go. And I'm going to that open all rooms. Perfect. So everyone should have gotten a breakout room message.
Five nine 5959.
All right, so now that everyone's gotten in to their respective breakout rooms, hopefully everyone is, introducing yourselves, at least their name and grade would be great. At least name or grade would be great. So I'll give you guys a little bit of time to introduce yourselves while I quickly read through the startup pitch to make sure I could be the founder properly. Cool. So, in about
have a currency, and the currency, it's a lot easier to like for example, like a central bank,
or
you
two
can just
minutes,
issue
I'll
more currency.
probably
So just logically,
started.
what do you call it? The
Oh wait, sorry.
Along the lines, you're totally right.
Perfect. And for those of you who aren't in breakout rooms right now, let me just throw you into a room real quick. There we go. Perfect. All right. Okay. Couple more. 1 second. What's a breakout room with less people? 7. Great. While I'm doing this, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat right now. Like for example, I don't really know. Do you guys have any questions? If not, after you guys do your brief introductions, let's get it going. So for the next 6 minutes, I will not be Francis. I will be founder of Descript. And so here's the company. So hey guys, thank you all for joining me. I understand your times as VCs are incredibly important, but I wanted to pitch you guys this amazing company that I built in the past couple of years called Descript. And so what Descript is that we're a company with a mission to allow people to edit audio like you edit text. We want to change the world of transcribing and creation of audio. And what that means is that we really want to transform the way you change audio to become almost like editing a document in Google Docs. And so we're currently, at 24 people, fastly expanding, and we're in San Francisco and Montreal, and we have an amazing management team. Obviously me, founder of Groupon, Detour, and a partner at Y Combinator. I know I look a little different in the picture, but let's not put that to mind too much. And aside of me and my amazing experience, I also have Jay LaBeouf, our head of business development, who also has a lot of amazing experience in the industry. And so we've already raised 2 rounds of investments from Andreessen Horowitz and Redpoint Ventures. And so if you decide to invest, you'll be investing with some of the best in the entire industry. So in the past, we've had a very fast kind of progress going through the years. We raised our first seed round in 2017, and in the years that followed, we expanded on our features, won awards, acquired Library to increase our functionalities, launched a bunch of stuff, and basically, within the 3 years, we became an amazing company that I think you should invest in. And the reason why we think you should invest in us is because of the market. The audio and video editing industry is growing at an incredibly rapid pace, and we're posed to be kind of the primary player in this industry. It's growing at 11%, and it's forecasted to grow to billions by 2025. And in fact, because Spotify and the podcasting industry is growing so fast, I actually think we're going to be growing at an even faster pace to take over an even larger share of the market. And I don't know how many of you VCs have ever edited audio or anything, but if you have ever edited audio, the biggest pain is to kind of listen through hours of audio, cutting out like filler words or cutting out sections that you messed up in. But with our product, all of this would no longer be an issue. Oh, whoops. Okay. All of this would no longer be an issue. With our product, we provide a service that can allow you to transcribe any form of audio into text and allow you to edit it as if you're editing a Google Doc. So if you see in the picture, if you wanted to cut out certain sentences or certain words, all you have to do is delete the words in the transcription and the audio would be edited accordingly as well. And this also works with the video content that comes with the audio. And it comes with hundreds of integrations with Asana, Google Suite, Evernote, and whatnot to allow for easy collaboration. And on top of that base functionality, we also have a bunch of new kind of functionalities we're currently trying to expand into. One being an AI-powered voicing engine to help overdub any mistakes you make when you do something. For example, if I said something wrong during this pitch, I could just edit it out afterwards. And give me one sec, because I hear people joining the Zoom meeting that I need to assign. So let me just quickly do that. All right, but going on in the product, we have a lot of competitors in the industry, but we're the best. No one really targets the editing space as much as we do. A lot of the other competitors we have in the industry really just focus on changing or just focus on transcribing audio. And that's not the only thing we offer. Not only do we offer accurate transcriptions, we also offer the ability to edit easily. And that's something that we don't see in the industry. So we're great. I'll skip through the evaluation because I think it's boring stuff, but just know that we're making a lot of money and we're worth a lot of money according to the money we make. I don't know who put that slide in. We have no risks. We're an amazing company. And so speaking a little bit about the future. In the future, we have a lot of features planned. And I think the most important thing is that we allow for people to put in requests for features that they want. And we are very transparent in how we decide to implement them. And so if you go on our website, you can actually see all the features that we have planned and all the features that we're currently work on. Sorry, Grace, for using your slides. To make sure that we are at the front of customer satisfaction. And if you invest in us, there's a proven record in the industry of a lot of very large and profitable acquisitions. So you don't have to worry about having your investment stuck forever. And so in conclusion, we're a unique company positioned in an amazingly growing industry, and we strive to provide a time-saving solution for content creators. And with that, I invite you guys to kind of discuss among your groups. Thanks, Taco, for the plug for Founder Friendly. So I'm taking my founder hat off. Obviously, I'm not the founder of this company, but I feel like I gave a good explanation or I gave a good demonstration of what a startup pitch would be like. So now I invite people to talk amongst
banks who are kind of taking
your
their mortgages
groups
and putting them in
to see if you can figure out whether you would like to invest or not. So people are joining. I'm just gonna quickly assign people. Yeah, so I'm pretty curious, but I would recommend that you really put some thought into it, because in a few seconds I'm gonna be hopping into a couple of breakout rooms as the founder, and asking you guys as VCs how you guys felt about the company and see if you guys have any questions for me. So in the meantime, discuss about the company. I'll just hang around here and answer any questions you guys have in the chat. Yeah, and if you guys want me to switch to any slide, just let me know in the chat and I can switch over to you if it helps you guys in discussing. Yeah, thank you, Grace, for providing me this deck. We actually made this during our venture team. This is one of our venture team pitches, so good job. God, I can't wait to start hopping into people's breakout rooms. Do you have a patent on technology of editing transcribed audio? No, we don't, but it's an incredibly hard technology to kind of figure out, and that's and that's kind of evident because if you look at the industry, a lot of people are transcribing audio, but nobody's doing the editing, and I feel like the reason for that is because it's a pretty obvious pain point, but no one has done it because it's just too hard to do, to make like seamless edits when you cut out words. No lie, the guy kind of looks like Francis. I'll give you $1 million for 1% investment in this company. Now that's a deal I would take if I were the startup. Cool, but actually, you know what? I can't wait. I'm just gonna start hopping into random breakout rooms, see what people think. Which one should I hop into first? Here, all right, I'm just gonna pick a random one.
Questions about competition, how it stacks up against the rest of the field. If at any point you guys are like a little confused about what's going on or anything, you can ask. Feel free to ask if like we say a term that you guys don't understand. Knowing kind of those questions, would you be interested in learning more to invest in them, or would you be like, I don't really want to touch these guys?
I would be interested in learning more about how I can invest because I still think it's like a pretty interesting company for me.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I probably would also be more interested in learning more just because, like as Francis mentioned, like Spotify is increasing, podcasts are increasing. I think like a lot of digital capability with audio transcription would be really valuable. And also just to learn more about like competition.
I think I would be interested too because like Francis said, like there wasn't any other companies that were specifically made for editing audio, and like so it's like unique and
nice.
Hey
So we got
guys.
3 people that want to move on. I know Francis is probably listening like a weirdo.
I just joined.
I have a question for you. Can you go over the product pricing strategy again?
The product pricing strategy, of course. As a company, what we do is we charge 3 tiers of prices depending on the user. There's a free plan. There's a plan where you pay. There's a plan where you pay $10 for producers, and there's a $15 plan for teams, and that's how we make money. What are you guys' thoughts on the company?
Pretend that Fran's not here. What do you guys think about that product pricing strategy? And do you think that they can convert users from free to paid? As well as, do you think that if they can't or they struggle with that, do you think that supplemental revenue sources will be able to provide at least some kind of working capital for them?
So it depends like what differentiates the free plan from the paid plans and how many more factors. If they can sort of make it in a way that the free plan is missing on some important maybe like it would be easier to transcribe or edit the audio, then yes, I think they would be able to convert. But
What
All right,
is up,
you
guys?
can ask Francis some questions right now.
Do you guys have any questions on my company? What are your thoughts? It's amazing.
Oh yeah, biggest question
Yeah, we
is
had a question.
why did you skip over the risk because like we shouldn't care or because like is that your actual like pitch?
Yeah,
Francis. Come on.
Okay. Realistically, as a company, we have a few risks. I wanted to skip over it because typically startups don't talk about risks. There's a few risks. One is privacy, security, market domination, low interest. Really, the biggest risk we have as a company is privacy and security. Just because we're dealing with so much data and because it's on a collaboration software, it's likely that a data breach might occur. And that's happened in the past with a lot of other companies and they've had huge fallouts. And so I think the biggest concern that we'll be facing going forward is potential data breaches.
Okay.
I guess I'll begin. Since you guys are a subscription-based service, if an influx of subscriptions were to occur, how would you scale your servers to handle it?
So I think scaling our servers won't be the biggest issue, just because a lot of our stuff are already on a very strong cloud platform. By the way, I don't actually know what's happening in the company, but a lot of our servers are already on a very strong platform. We have amazing connections with Google's cloud services as well as Amazon Web Services. So I don't see that as an issue going forward if we were to receive a lot of subscriptions. I think we're well set to scale however many people we get.
I had a question about the technology. So like, kind of based off of that, is your technology like patented, or is there like a way that other companies could like create a similar company or similar like service?
Yeah, so the audio transcribing and editing service is not patented, but it's relatively hard to create, so that we don't expect anyone to kind of copy our idea in the near future. And in the far future, we also have a bunch of features we're adding on, like the overdubbing feature that I don't think any other company would be able to do, just because, even we had to buy Lyrebird for $15 million a few years back just to add that functionality to our platform. Pretty sure it's a pretty unique technology. Yeah, so what are your thoughts? Do you like the company? Do you not like? Would you give me like $20 million to...
I wouldn't do it.
Oh, so that's one no. How about the rest of you?
I think I would, because like there's been a lot of moves into like different industries, especially with Spotify, and it would probably be a good investment for the future.
Good investment for the future. Got it. Ashley, Drew?
Yeah, probably I would, because I think it sounds really cool. I just feel like...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. You just feel like what?
Well, I don't know how many people would actually use this, because I feel like, because people don't necessarily really need it. They could just, it might be kind of inconvenient, but they could work around all the problems that this software solves in other ways.
True. But at the same time, okay, yeah, go for it, Drew.
And I was gonna say, like, I agree, like, it might be not as useful for like documents and stuff, but I feel like for video editing, it could be very useful because it's very easy to, it'll be much easier to like edit out different stuff or like different filler words.
So do you think this would be more for like media companies rather than like individual content creators?
Oh, was that for me or for Drew?
I don't know, for everyone. I'm just kind of trying to get a feel for.
We're currently targeting like audio services, and we're not targeting big media companies like, I don't know, BBC or whatnot, just because they already have very established workflows on how they edit stuff, what teams manage what. So we're targeting smaller teams as well as like podcast groups where this is still a very big pain point.
I see.
Yeah. Just curious, Jan, why not?
I have a question first. Like, what's the total market? Like, what's like the total amount of money that flows into like the video editing service?
So I think the video editing services is not completely massive. It's forecasted to grow to like around 2.5 billion according to the slides. But in reality, it really is just a proxy of how fast the podcast industry is growing. And the podcast industry is growing incredibly fast. And you see a lot of like acquisition activity in the industry. And so with this really fast speed, with this really quick growth, the audio and video editing industry, at least we predict, will grow at a faster pace and grow larger than $2.5 billion.
I just had a really quick question.
Oh wait, just one second. Let Zion finish his thought on like why not investing.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see it as like being. If I give you $20 million, like I feel like it's gonna take me a really long time to get my investment back, especially because the whole industry as a whole is what 2.5 billion. So that's like 1% is what I'm giving you of the entire industry. So I doubt that I'd make my money back.
All right, that's fair. Yeah, no, that's very fair. Steven, what did you have to say?
I just wanted to ask, like, can it be connected to other apps? Sort of like how Grammarly, it's like you can use it on Microsoft Word or other applications. Would that be possible with?
Yeah, we have hundreds of app integrations with all sorts of different apps. Like, what do we mention? Like Slack, Google. Yeah, we have hundreds of app integrations. I'm sure we can integrate it with something like Google Drive if we had to. Or whatever you want. All right, but thank you guys for giving me your feedback. I'm gonna hop into another room and see what they have to say. Let's see. Bye-bye.
Bye, Francis.
It says
Thank you.
Okay, Amanda says room 3 is amazing. All right, I'm gonna hop into room 3.
All right, guys.
What's up, guys? How did
Hi,
you think?
Francis.
What did you guys think about my company? Anyone?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty sick idea.
Lit.
To be honest.
So you would invest $20 million?
Yes. 20 million. I don't know. I'd have to see some numbers first. I don't know if I could give you a definite figure right now, but I definitely think it's a great idea. I think it's got a lot of potential to expand outside even of just the podcast. I think you definitely have the ability with that AI technology, like to use it for something like translating podcasts across different languages, like taking a podcaster from like Japan, for example, and making them big in the US. But I think it's definitely a good idea and has a lot of potential in a great market.
Thank you. All right, one promising thought. Anyone have any questions or don't want to invest?
I guess I'd want to ask about like the product itself, because I know when you're covering it, a lot of it, like when it comes to like the features, a lot of it said like features under review, in progress, features planned. And I guess I'd want to know, like, I guess at this stage, like, how seamless does the technology work like so far, and like how concrete is it at the moment?
So this slide is so our product is actually working really well in terms of its core functionalities: the transcription, the video editing, and the integrations. Those are our core products, and those work just fine. The feature slide that you saw with a bunch of other features, that's kind of like the user submitted features that people want. And we have like a 320 feature backlog of just random features that users want. It could go from something as small as, highlighting common words to something as large as like a completely new function. But in general, we'd say our product currently is very solid, especially since we have so many clients already. I don't think people would use it if, like, I don't know, the video editing wasn't working or if the transcription was extremely inaccurate.
I guess I'd also want to ask, for like, I guess like upon receiving like the investment, hypothetically, what would the company's like priority be with that money?
What are the company's priorities after receiving the money? I think it's two things. One is, I already mentioned, we have a 320 feature backlog. The primary thing we would do is first hire a slightly larger engineering team to kind of get through those features quickly so that our customers are satisfied for as much time as possible. And the second thing is that we would start expanding geographically. Currently, we cover most of the West Coast because we're based in San Francisco, but we really want to expand this to other places because podcasting is pretty much all over the country. So we're probably going to expand our geographical footprint and try to get our product everywhere. Yeah, so we need the $20 million, in other words. Kenny and Justin, I know Kenny, you're in a class right now, so I won't ask you to. Wait, you have a question. Let's go. How would you expand your geographical footprint if your product is virtual? By expanding our physical footprint, we can expand our physical marketing, which will in turn expand our virtual geographical footprint, so to say. So hopefully we do. Give me 1 second, Michael. I think that's the link. All right, Justin, do you have any thoughts? Or are you in a class? If so, I'll just skip you. My fire alarm. Okay. His fire alarm is going off. Okay, understandable. If your fire alarm is going off, you might want to evacuate if that's the safest thing to do. But anywho, final consensus is yes, invest.
What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I'm sort of with Justin here, but I guess the on the fence thing.
On the fence.
I think I'd sort of lean no, though.
Lean no. Got it. And same reasons as Justin?
Well, I not sure what specific reasoning was, but I also think I know someone brought this up earlier. I think with this product, with one, it's like 20. I think it's a big investment for in comparison to the industry, and also I just think that I know someone mentioned this earlier. I just think there are simpler solutions to that would kind of work around what this product offers.
Got it. That's fair. Here, I'm gonna hop into one more breakout room just because of the interest of time. A lot of people probably have class right after this, but thank you guys for your input. That is 2 no's I've gotten already. I guess I'm not that great at startup pitching. Let's see, one last room. Which one? Anyone in chat? Does anyone have which room should I join? One last room before I kind of wrap this presentation up. Pull up to 8? Sure. What's up, guys? How are you?
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Any questions about the company, or are you guys all hands-on and wanting to invest?
We had some. I know Siobhan brought up some concerns like the patents.
Mm-hmm. What about
and
it?
Also we're concerned about the valuation.
Oh right.
Yeah, the valuation mostly.
Yes. I won't run too much into the financials because I'll be completely honest, I didn't do them. But if you look at our amazing graph, we're gonna be worth 150 million. So when we're asking for $20 million, we're giving away, how much of the company is that? 16-17%. I'm not sure if I did the math right there, but yeah. Any other questions about valuation? Or
how many subscribers would you need to break even, become profitable?
Let's see. I bet this graph says. Maybe not. We're currently already profitable. Let's just say.
Oh really? Oh, okay, that's sick.
Oh, that's sick.
Oh, sick. Yeah, it seems like a pretty low, high margin business. So, I kind of like it.
Yeah, very very high margin. I mean, we're literally a software, so software businesses usually have 80% plus margins for gross at least.
Yeah. Well, I have a question. Do you guys have any large customers right now?
We're primarily a B2C, so it's I won't be able to give you I don't know, Adobe as a name, but we have a bunch of companies.
Okay, sounds good.
Do you see? Do you have any potential targets, any companies that you particularly want to partner with or sell your software to?
I think as a kind of subscription software business, Our most likely exit is going to be an acquisition. We just don't plan on exiting in the near future, at least, because we think we have a lot of potential in growing still. We'll exit like at a later date, maybe to Adobe, the same one that bought the other podcasting software already, or Spotify. Yeah.
I know you mentioned like briefly about your competitors, but you also talked about like how they were mostly indirect. What's like the closest like direct competitor that you can see, kind of competing with your product?
So, sorry, say that again. My direct competitors.
Yeah, like the one that you see to be the most similar to you guys. I know that a lot of them were indirect, like the podcast company.
Yeah, I think the biggest competition to us would, as I kind of mentioned before, like the transcription services, because at the core of our business, it's still about making audio editing easier, and transcribing is the very first step. So if they do the transcription with like 100% accuracy, we currently only have like a 99.7% or something like that. If people are doing it at 100% accuracy, we might see some serious competition there. But I still feel like our other features will be able to make up for it at least.
Do you think you can expand into any other markets, like with this kind of technology, like, I don't know, video maybe, like even like, I know there's like deep fakes, but like, would you be able to?
We're focusing on a niche industry because we're trying to completely dominate it before we go on. But one thing we've been looking at is actually the legal transcribing industry. So I'm not sure if you guys know, but in courts, there are transcribers that kind of transcribe the entire court proceedings. Those people have to be like licensed. They're like 30, 40 years into the industry and whatnot. And they're quickly being replaced because no one wants to be a transcriber for life. And I feel like we can fit in there really well. So if we start like a kind of legal branch to really deal with legal terms, I feel like we have potential to enter that niche industry, which is actually a pretty big industry because there's so many court proceedings every day. All right, so
sure.
I mean, yeah, I like it. I think it fits into many niches. So
strong niche.
Yeah.
Good brand, good product, amazing slide deck, amazing founder.
Oh yeah, the slide deck was so clean.
It really was. Yeah. I appreciated it.
Yeah. Does anyone? Okay. So do I have my first investment in this room?
I'm still on the fence personally.
God damn.
For right now, it's a no. But looking into like your financials more, and then definitely like trying the product, I would give you a yes or like a hard yes or no.
Oh, that sounds good. Makes sense. Nobody invests on the first pitch. Everyone has to do a bit more research. Yikes, I did not get a single yes today. But all right, it's 10:43. We're going to end the meeting soon. So I'm going to hop back on the stream. You guys can feel free to stay around, hang out. I'll probably hop into the stream after. I'll probably hop into the Zoom after to kind of just chill with everyone. But thanks, guys, for the advice. All right, so obviously, as you guys all saw, I got all no's for this company pitch, which I don't know. I personally thought the company was fine, but I got all no's, and it just goes to show how hard it is for startups to really pitch to VCs, just because it's so uncertain. You can't really give much to the VCs at the end of the day unless you're like super late in stage. But enough with that. Thank you guys all for participating in the Zoom. Feel free to hang out in it afterwards if you guys want. But just some last things. We kind of wanted to see who would stay around the longest. So we wanted to give some sort of reward for kind of your loyalty. And so, okay, Michael, to answer your question, what we just did is we put everyone in breakout rooms and made them mini VCs. And I pitched a startup to them and went around asking people what they wanted to, or whether they would like to invest or not, and any questions they had for the founder in terms of like due diligence. But yeah, we wanted to reward everyone who decided to stay until the end. And so we're going to give you guys a sneak peek of our venture team applications, which open next Monday. So yeah, I knew we had to reward our loyal people somehow. And so they're opening next Monday, but we're going to give a sneak peek of some of the questions we're going to have on application on our application. And so we're generally going to have two types of questions. One are the interest questions. And as I mentioned in the past, what we're really looking for is just people who really are looking, or people who are really passionate about the industry and are really excited about tech. And so we're going to ask questions about venture capital, technology, as well as a favorite startup. I don't know, I gave you guys a pitch for Descript. Maybe you guys could use that. But find a company you're interested in, talk about it. Both of these will be around like 200 words. And then we'll talk briefly about a VC deal that's happened in the past. We have a Warby Parker funding, an Unacademy funding, and a third one that I will leave to you guys to figure out what the company is. I just put a logo. So for you tech savvy people, good luck finding what the company is. But I gave you two to, we'll be giving you 3 companies to pick out of. And you're just going to pick one and really talk about whether their valuation was justified, overpriced, underpriced, and why. And don't worry if you know nothing about finance or valuation or anything. What we're mainly looking for is just rationale and like whether you have a logical thought process. You don't have to throw in like fancy terms or like quantitative analysis or anything. We just want to see your thought process. So don't sweat too much if you haven't, I don't know, taken financial accounting yet as a freshman. But that is it for today. Thank you guys all for coming. I'll stay around to answer any questions in the chat, and I'll keep this up if you guys want to take like screenshots or anything. Where do we apply? So you can apply on our website as well as through email. We're going to be sending out our apps and posting it on our website next Monday. So just keep an eye out for that. And as Taco said, yes, you don't need to know anything to apply. I literally joined knowing nothing. It was really just interest. Any other? Can we get on the mailing list through the website? Yes, it is on the front page of our website. I'll actually show everyone right now. Beautiful website created by Alex, who, by the way, love our marketing lead right here. First button, join our mailing list. Subscribe to our YouTube if you haven't already. Once we hit 100, we can do cool stuff with the channel. Yes, Grace knew nothing joining. I can personally attest to that. I think I was one of her interviewers. Cool, yeah. I'm just gonna sit around for just a little longer. Feel free to, just chat. For the people who are in class, how are your classes? I'm not sure how many people would actually come to the meeting while being in class. Class is not bad. Can we play any of the games at game night at any time? If we get a lot of interest in games night, we'll actually start a Discord server and make it a more common thing. But we're just gonna see. Are all the games open at once? No, depending on turnout. Because there's some games that require like 4 to 5. I'm so sorry for ending the meeting while room 5 was still all together. Is Among Us a Steam game you have to buy? So if you want to play it on PC, you have to buy it, but the free one is on mobile. So if you're just playing on mobile, it's for free. You don't have to pay anything. I'm so sorry for closing the rooms. I thought everyone left. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Is there an attendance link? No, but we're just mainly keeping track of chat. So as long as you've spoken in the chat at any point, we'll probably have your name down. Buy room 2 sending love from the chat. Aw. Glad to see all you guys got so close together in the 5 minutes it took for me to pitch the startup. And yeah, Among Us is super fun. Taco and I are super sweaty with the game too, so if you guys want to join, it'll be a good time. Great. Thank you as well for coming out. 10 minutes before my class. I am probably going to end the stream. I'm probably going to end the stream now. Yes, I'm definitely a sweat. But thanks again. Bye, everyone.